Hi everyone, Marley here. I have a book talk to share with you guys today, and we're looking at 4 different books that are great for grades 4 to 6, and obviously a little give on each side of that age range. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first book I have to share with you guys is one that I think is being considered a modern classic, and for good reason. It is a really fun book. I think it holds a lot of different people's interests, kind of no matter what you are typically drawn to as far as your reading goes. Which was better, the book or the movie? That's the conversation we love to have. You can make the choice after reading Holes by Louis Sachar. Some people are calling it a modern classic, but it's basically a story about a boy and his family's secrets. It's an adventure of sorts. It's a coming of age story. What good would it be to spend your days endlessly digging up holes? That's what I thought the first time I read it. A group of boys doesn't have a choice after being sent to a correctional camp in the desert. This is in Texas. Dry desert. Boring, right? The story of Stanley Yelnats and his curse will keep you on the edge of your seat. And once all is uncovered, you can return to the library with the answer to a handful of mysteries and an opinion on movie versus book. That is, if you've seen the movie. I recommend it. But I would also recommend this book to anyone that loves to piece together lost parts of a family puzzle. I read this book when I was 9, about 4th grade, and I know it will delight you as well. The second book that I have to share with you is a newer book to me. It's called When the World Turned Upside Down by Kay Ibura, and it's actually a book that came out this year in 2022. Growing up during a global pandemic has been really challenging. This isn't a book I've read yet myself, but I can't wait to dive into it. I think you would find it probably relatable and relevant to how things are in our world right now, especially if you are a kid in these days. Kids are hugely resilient and flexible, but it still hasn't been an easy time. Just like for adults, it hasn't been an easy time. The feeling of wearing a mask to school for the first time in front of people or out in public for the first time, that was really weird, right? And that was challenging for sure. This book is fiction, which means that the author Kay Ibura made up the storyline and characters, but it feels so real, and maybe you'll read about something that you've experienced in your school since going back to school, maybe if you were out for a little bit. Because of the pandemic, there are disagreements and confusing bits of information everywhere we turn, so it seems. So give yourself a pat on the back for being strong during a hard time. You'll love this if you like stories of friendships and taking care of others, or if you just need a hug in book form, because I know I do. My third book that I have to share with you guys that I cannot recommend enough is one of my personal favorites. It's called The Bad Beginning, but it's the first book in a series of unfortunate events. It's technically book 1 by Lemony Snicket. I feel like it's very popular because of the series that was made based off of the books, but the books are really where it's at. If you like mystery, but also family issues, maybe there's some dramatic deaths and things like that, you will really love this story, especially the first book. Oh, you don't want to hear about an evil, uber secretive character? You don't like dark gloom? Oh, you do? Okay, this is perfect. Perfect for a rainy day. It's a mystery, but not quite like a problem that we're trying to solve. There's more stuff involved than that. Each page has doom and eventful downturns, and our 3 main characters are the Baudelaire siblings. They're newly orphaned, one of which is a baby, so the older siblings are taking care of this baby. They encounter the wildest events. It sounds sad, right? But don't worry, there's some good chuckles in the story as well, little bits of humor. If you love that, being placed into a dramatic, dark storyline, you're going to love this. They just want to be normal kids, but must use their wits and talents to get themselves out of some tricky situations that they didn't really put themselves in, but other people were putting them in. Oh, and this sneaky bad guy, yeah, he's really evil. This book is the perfect adventure for those who love a wild ride. If you like something that is much more visual and maybe a different format like graphic novel, I do have a recommendation for you, something that you can try. It's called The Tea Dragon Society. It's by Kay O'Neill. It's actually a newer book, and the illustrations in this do so much for the story. It's a just wholesome, warm story to begin with, about friends and kind of this tea club society, if you want to call it. And of course, it's in the graphic novel format. So the dragons that grow tea for you, you cuddle with the dragons, they grow the tea on their backs, and it's just kind of like a creative way to incorporate the tea and the dragons. The sweet book is perfect for the fall season, I was thinking, but in the book, they do go through the different seasons, so really you could read it any time of year. If you love that warmth and wholesomeness that a lot of people associate, tea time with, and snuggling up with a blanket on your couch and a good book, this is going to be perfect. Graphic novels are a wonderful way to continue your reading journey, and they absolutely count for your reading. It is a different form of reading, yes, but it is a book. It's a great way to have a new visual learning experience, and I think this book is sure to delight you with both the pictures and the story. All four of these books are obviously very different in many ways. They vary in genres, they vary in the length and the format of the physical book, and themes, but I would recommend all four of them for children in grades 4 to 6, and I hope that I was able to provide you with some new reads today. Enjoy.